Live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thanks for joining us. As always, we appreciate it. We are live streaming here from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom, and we start around 1 p.m. every weekday and go throughout the afternoon covering a wide range of topics. You can find us on the Fox 12 Oregon app or KPTV.com or YouTube or lots of places either live or afterwards. So whichever one it is, thanks for joining. And we get to have some really interesting conversations here on the show. Today, we're going to be talking about, well, in part about the Oregon Black Pioneers, an organization which researches and documents the history of African Americans in the Northwest. But really, we're going to be talking about Black History Quest, and that is a pretty amazing program that we're going to be covering here. And to do so, we have the host of said show, Mariah Rocker, joining us. And Mariah, thanks for being here. Really appreciate you joining, to talk about what it is that you have going here. And, to start off, for anybody who doesn't know and who wants to learn more about it, could you just give everyone an overview of what the Oregon Black Pioneers is?
Yeah. Well, hi, Greg. Good afternoon. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for this opportunity to talk about my organization and the work that we've been doing. So I am Mariah Rocker, the Public Programs and Exhibits Manager for Oregon Black Pioneers. And if you haven't heard of it before, that's okay. Oregon Black Pioneers is Oregon's only historical society dedicated to preserving and presenting the experiences of people of African descent statewide. So we work with a lot of organizations throughout the state that are telling these stories on more locally, like Vanport Mosaic, for example. But we are the only organization that is dedicated to capturing the stories from the far reaches of the state, from all throughout the state, and sharing them with all Oregonians so that we're able to fill in the gaps for Black history.
Which is a monumental task when you think about, how many different, Oregon's a big state, number one.
Yes.
And all of those local communities and let alone the fact that historical records sometimes are probably hard to get a hold of in those stories.
Oh.
Like, what is one of the main ways that you're able to do that research? Is it going through town documents, or is it talking to locals who may know somebody who knew somebody, going back like that?
Oh, it's definitely a combination of that sort of stuff. A lot of ways that we track it is going through, tax records, property records, documents that you can find through historical organizations like, throughout the state. But we also do work directly with folks that are able to help tell us these stories. And so, we have on our website, for example, some oral histories from folks in Eugene and in Portland that help to tell these stories. As an organization. So we've actually, just as a little background, we've been around for just over 30 years, for 31 years, and have been doing this work almost exclusively volunteer based throughout all of that history up until 2020, when we were able to finally start hiring staff, including myself. We say we have 2.5 full-time staff at this point, but we're growing and we're very excited about it. But during that time, there was a big period of time where a lot of that research was being done by the volunteers. And we do still do that work today. But one of the ways that we've been able to find ways for people to really dive in deep and uncover these more difficult to research items is through Black History Quest, which is what we're here to talk about today. So I feel like that's a good segue into it.
That's a great segue. Yeah. So having people, going out there and doing that. So I guess, to start off with, could you tell us about Black History Quest?
Yeah. So over that 30-year time period, we have collected a lot of stuff that was in our research files, pieces, newspaper clippings, photographs, lots of random stuff that has been either gifted to us or that we have uncovered ourselves, that we currently have at our disposal to both use for the presentations and events that we have today, but also to dive a little bit deeper into. And so Zachary Stocks, our executive director, a few years ago came up with the brilliant idea of creating a history research program, conversational program, that not only provides us an opportunity to dive deeper into those stories, but allows us the opportunity to connect with and work with local researchers and pay them for their work. So a lot of the work that was being done, like I said, a lot of this research was done without much payment, by volunteers. But now we're able to actually, in part due to the Roundhouse Foundation and their work with us, we're able to pay researchers to really dig in deep. And that's very helpful because since these stories are so difficult to find and to really research, you have to be able to like put in a lot of time and effort to sometimes physically go to, the county clerk's office to find
Right.
out more information, stuff like that. So yeah, that's one of the main benefits of Black History Quest is that we get to learn more, but we also use it as an opportunity to show people what this history research looks like. So, better than I can explain today, in these episodes, our researchers describe what it looked like, the difficulties that they came into doing this work.
I can only imagine some of the obstacles they had to overcome too in some of that stuff, especially going through old records. I've done a little bit of that myself, where you get to a certain point where it could be even be you can't read someone's handwriting, so you don't know where to go
Oh
back
man.
from there.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine there's all kinds of stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I've got some images here too, just so that people can see here, just, giving some ideas of some of the different segments that you cover. And, for these, do you come up with these yourself, or does this working with the researchers who will maybe suggest a potential topic?
It's definitely a collaboration. We, as an organization, have come up with, we have actual sources in our materials that we want to know more about. For example, one of the images that you just scrolled through was a poll tax that was literally just put on Hawaiians, Chinese people, and Black Americans
Wow.
back in, 1863 or something like that. And so we wanted to know more about this poll tax. I mean, when I first saw the actual file that we were looking at, I thought it was a return, like they were returning the money to people. And I was like, what happened here? Thanks to the research of Richard Engman, in one of our episodes, we found out that no, that's just kind of a wording confusion. It was what they were listing was how much money they had made off of this poll tax or this head tax, literally just basically on people of color. And so, even just through that episode, for example, I was able, like, my personal understanding of Oregon history was certainly like the gaps were filled in with the information that Richard was able to uncover. But there have been lots of ways that this particular program has evolved in many different ways. So a few examples that I can think of are one of the best like successes from our program would have actually come from the first episode that we ever did with Kylie Pine from the Willamette Heritage Center. And she was literally given just an ad from a newspaper about a local, business owner in Salem. We gave her that ad, and she was able to uncover so much information that she turned it into a Juneteenth in Freedom's Footsteps walking tour, the first iteration of a program that we hope to do moving forward. But it was literally, she was able to create it because she had been able to do all of that research into their lives. And she, prior to that, we knew about the Baylesses. We had a few references here and there to what they had done in the town, but now we're able to look at this extensive research that demonstrates, 40 years of them contributing to Salem and the different places where that was. And so that personally feels like one of the best successes that we've had, but that's not the only thing. We're also working with certain organizations to get signage added to the base of John Brown Mountain to talk about his connection to that area as well. And so the best part about it, is not just the fact that we're able to uncover information and see what, take a peek behind the curtain to see what it looks like to do that research, but that it's also evolving into, bigger things that more people can interact with throughout the state. So it's fun that it has all these different aspects of it.
Right. It's just kind of like all these tendrils that go off into all these other, things to help, the public know about something, but also, change things like that. And I mean, I think that's pretty
Exactly.
incredible, learning enough history to have a walking tour based off of a news
Yeah.
article. I mean, that's pretty
Right.
amazing. For
Yeah.
you, what do you think is, I mean, and this is maybe too simple of a question. So, what do you think is the most important thing for people to know about the work that you're doing there for Oregon Black pioneers in telling these stories of people of African descent here in the Northwest?
Sure. Well, I will say that, during my work, a lot of times the responses that I get is basically just oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that there were Black people in Oregon before the civil rights era. I didn't know that there were Black people in Oregon throughout every moment in Oregon's history of non-Native history. I mean, a lot of times people don't know that there is, there are lots of examples of Black people living and working in Oregon, contributing to the social and economic fabric of this beautiful state that we all call home. There is a long legacy of folks like that throughout history. And I think that's one of the main things that, I want to impress on people, that our organization wants to impress on people. It's just that these stories have often gone untold. It's not that they aren't here and that they weren't here. Black people have roots in this state, and it's just we're really trying to showcase those roots and fill in those gaps for people.
I love it. I mean, yeah, all of that, and then with Black History Quest too, you get to hear how people go about doing that. So,
Yeah.
and I find that just as interesting too, of how you uncover all of that information and let everybody know about it.
Exactly. So you sound like, I'm just saying, you sound like you might be an Oregon Black Pioneer, which is the the new term that we came up for Black History Quest viewers this year, because we're kind of leaning into the nerdiness of it. We're pretty excited about people that are interested in these stories and want to highlight that with a fun, kitschy phrase like Oregon Black Pioneers. So it sounds like you're into it.
I didn't know that was the term for it, but yes, 100%.
Nice.
I embrace that term fully. So,
Glad to hear it. I love that.
I mean, it really is. It's just really, it's so important to learn about this and to give this to learn this history about, here in Oregon, and just what everything that's involved there, stuff that just people didn't know, and now it's being, revealed and letting everybody know about what amazing history there is and these amazing stories.
Absolutely.
Yeah. that come from that. For people who want to who may be pioneers out there, now using that term, for people who want to learn more about Black History Quest and follow along with what you're doing and what's coming up, what is the best way for them to do so?
That's great. So the best way to access all of our information is, of course, OregonBlackPioneers.org. If you Google Oregon Black Pioneers, it should come up. But we have a wealth of information available on our website, from online exhibits that dive into specific aspects of this story. We have books that you can purchase from us directly. We have lesson plans that you can download for free on our website. So please, any educators out there, please check this out, because it's all the information that you could need for a week-long plan looking at different aspects of the story, like Black pioneers on the Oregon Trail or the Racing to Change civil rights era. Different lesson plans that you can just download with all the information you need for free on our website, in addition to other opportunities that we have for learning on our website. And then specifically for Black History Quest, you should definitely follow us on social media, Facebook. We're on Facebook and Instagram. There's always a Facebook event page where you can view the Black History Quest when it is live. It'll pop up there. And then otherwise, they are showcased live on Facebook and YouTube. Every other month is effectively how often we do Black History Quest. So our next one is actually next Wednesday, and it'll be broadcast live at 7 p.m. on our YouTube channel. So again, Oregon Black Pioneers on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and our website are the main ways that you can follow along and get that information.
That's a lot of a lot of ways to find it, all just typing in Oregon Black Pioneers. So it's all going to come up right there. Well, Mariah, thank you very much for joining me here to have a conversation about this and just learning more about everything that you're doing and letting people know.
Thank you.
And I guess I was going to say, where else can they go? Oregon Black Pioneers. So just type in that and you'll find out all that info. I love that you have the lesson plans too. That is a really smart idea.
Yeah.
Wow. Really cool. Well, thank you very much. And thanks for joining us, and thanks for everything you do and being here on Fox 12 Now.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving the opportunity for me to talk about this organization, the work that we're doing. I'm honored to be doing this work, and the best way that you can support us is just to follow along, or also we're very much donation based. We are a nonprofit that doesn't really receive state or federal funding. So if you're looking for some place to donate, we're also a great option for that. But either way, just your support in general, knowing our name and sharing it with people and telling educators about our lesson plans, those are the best ways to support us.
There you go. Yeah, great ways to support everything that you're doing. Well, Mariah, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too. All right. And for everybody watching too, thanks for joining us. Again, this is Fox 12 Now. We're here every weekday afternoon covering a wide range of topics. And by wide range, I mean, we're just talking about Oregon Black Pioneers. Coming up at 1:30, we're talking about artificial intelligence. So, it's just it's a hodgepodge of things that we cover here on this show. So artificial intelligence and televisions. So that's coming up at 1:30 p.m. But if there's ever breaking news, we have that as well. And there's lots of segments for you to check out if you download the Fox 12 Oregon app or go to kptv.com or Fox 12 Oregon on YouTube. So you can check all of those out there. But thanks for tuning in. We're going to regroup. We'll be back soon. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now. And now I press the buttons.
Thank you so much, Craig.